Oh my God!
Did he hook turn then?
Well, I wouldn't know particularly know the details, but
He
yeah.
was on the canopy, was he or not? I don't know.
No,
That's
yeah.
not right,
Exactly
though,
what you're talking about. I got a picture of him.
He apparently. Where were they at Ibelstow?
I heard Spain. I heard Spain.
Was it Spain?
I don't know if
Eddie.
it's the Eddie I'm thinking of. I hope it's not. I know there might be a different Eddie, but it's horrible to think that someone has died skydiving.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but he was pushing them limits. He was here, there, and everywhere. He turned it into a job, I think, because he was doing so many jumps, like we talked about before. I might do 30, 40 jumps in a year. Eddie was like ramping it up so quick, and jumping here, there, and everywhere. Went to Ibelstow, developed it over there. Then to Spain, getting 100 jumps in a weekend was kind of like nothing. They were getting it on, and then all part of the fast canopy lifestyle was everything. But the hard learning was, we used to call it total commitment because, as we kind of know, there's no breaks as such on a canopy. You commit to that hook turn and you're in. And if you time it wrong, and that's it.
Yeah, it was a thing. I remember the blue track was the canopy to have, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, they were great.
My first one was a unit. Billy Miller stitched me up with that. I think it was Billy Miller. And I thought it was great because it was square, but the canopy was all right, but the harness was awful. Anyway, I progressed onto the one Flinny had. Remember one Flinny spanked in on? That was a parachute.
Oh, that was a Fury, was it? Oh, no, not a Fury. He had a Fury before then.
A 9-cell, allegedly a fast 9-cell. But it come off Ian Chick originally, and he didn't like it. He got rid of it. Give it to Flinny. Flinny spanked in, did his back and his feet in on it, and he sold it to me. And it nearly had me a couple of times, and I thought, no, I'm going back to a Fury. So, I mean, Terry had a Fury. Did you ever move on to? Because Furies were great. They were a good all-round safe canopy.
Furies are brilliant for everything.
Yeah,
I just stuck with them.
Yeah, I mean, I was tempted to go down the blue track and the fast. But like you say, so many people spanked in. They just didn't, you get it wrong, and it's so easy to get it wrong, isn't it? It was so light on the pedals, weren't they? On the pedals,
yeah.
On the toggles.
We didn't. We were there. We were there at the forefront of that. We were there when we saw that new Zero Prosty elliptical. They were like an aerofoil aeroplane wing in the design. They were this deep in the center. They were this deep on the wingtips. They were elliptical front to back, but they didn't come with any instructions. Nowadays, again, we were late at learning with skydiving in that we wanted to kind of self-taught. And the problem with being self-taught is that you only learn from mistakes, and if mistakes aren't made, and you're not really pushing the boundaries. Push the boundaries. Made mistakes, but those mistakes for a lot of the time were either life-changing or fatal. Nowadays, they've even got you go to any DZ now, and they've got fast canopy handling courses. It's like that. You're going to teach me how to use mechanics. I'll do it myself.
I honestly, I was quite happy to stick with the Fury. Fury for me was as far as I needed. I even had a round reserve, but that was because I was skint. Couldn't afford a square. I probably would have had a square one if I could have afforded it. But they've got AADs and everything now, haven't they? And
did you ever?
You shoot, it'll pop itself, won't it? Now.
Yeah, Graham. This is one of the best stories I kind of learned from the old school Black Knights. Did you ever speak to Bob Parry about kit when they first got it?
Which kind of kit?
Parachutes. When they started right at the beginning.
I bought my own. I bought a big green T10.
Yeah, no. I mean, the actual Black Knights themselves when they started back in the day.
Oh yeah. I saw the album. He got his album out one night.
Right.
And it's like a scrapbook because Bob was in the Paras, wasn't he? He was in Korean War or something, and I think Cliff was as well, and Phil Cavanagh, weren't they? They were all like ex-Paras.
They were all ex-military, and when they were leaving, and they all said, "Right, we want to do this for fun." So they spoke to the sergeant and said, "We want a bit of kit." And he went, "Fuck off! What do you want some kit for?" I said, "Well, we're going to do it for fun." It was like, love jumping out of planes. So they all got a rig each. And
Nice.
when he said they got a rig each, it was just one canopy, and they just jumped for years with one parachute. They didn't have a reserve. And I said, "What do you mean? You jumped without a reserve?" And he said, "Bob," he said, "we could only just afford one. Why would we have two when you didn't need them?" And I went, "Oh my God," because they were just more money. And then the best thing he says about having the reserve was that they packed them, and it was like, he said, back then, he said there was no, again, because these guys were inventing sport parachuting back in the day.
Yeah.
And they had the chest-mounted reserve on the belly pack, and he had a line over and twist, did Bob Parry. So he went, "Not a problem." Pulled his reserve. Literally, he said, like a loaf of Hovis bread. It fell out of the container, hit his feet, and nearly broke his toes.
Oh my God.
He went, "Oh." So he reeled it all back in and literally punched it in the air. So and then he threw it away, and then he inflated and literally had a couple hundred feet under this reserve, and he landed.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was the start of parachute reserve packing twice a year. He's like, "We're thinking about
I remember he told us a tale once. It was funny. He said there was this rig that Cliff was doing hop and pops and cutaways on, and Bob Parry just took it. He took it to terminal. He said he got the shock of his life when he opened up. He was howling in pain. This wasn't meant to be taken to terminal velocity. It was just meant for hop and pop, you know. And the way he went on, I was in stitches.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they put the sliders on the square parachutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just delete
everything. Too fast, and it went bang, and he just left swinging in the harness like seeing stars. So they had to slow it down somehow. That's why they fitted them. Remember Mark Massey telling me when he was base jumping, they always packed it with the slider down.
Yeah. So talking of old kit, Lloydie had the Para Delta Wing 2. So I mean, back in the day, we had the Aberconical, the T10 for the bigger lads with the double L's. Just
I remember you jumping that. You said you wanted to jump that.
Yeah, well, so they went from the double L. Then they just decided that if they cut loads of holes in a round, it could go faster forward. So then the Para Commander, and then the forefront of switching between a round parachute to skipping forward to a square was the Para Delta Wing 2, which was more like the design of an old school hang glider. It was a triangle.
Yeah.
So did you ever
only jumped it the once though, didn't you?
Oh well, it had about a mile of line. The lines, it was so far above your head, it was miles away. And he just said, "Do not take this beyond a 3-second delay because it will snap you in half." I went, "Oh my God." So we jumped down. I literally just dumped it as soon as I could, and it opened and it was great. But if you let it go onto full drive, the nose just collapsed. I thought, so I just flew it all the way in on half brakes. The only problem there was I didn't have anything to stall it with when I came into land, so I just proper ploughed into the ground with Lloydie pissing his sides.
I remember you jumping that. I do. I remember you just shook your head and said "never again" or something. I can't remember.
Oh no! But it was
a long time ago. Did you ever do a Mr. Bill?
I think with Quasi. Well, I don't know how that works, but I was the guy with the canopy, and he jumped off me. So
right. You managed to do it though.
Oh, were you talking about a Mr. Bill?
Yeah, I tried it several times, and I only successfully managed it once, and that was with Tony Massey.
Tony Massey.
He was the. We had to static line him pretty much off the plane.
Yeah.
Someone I did rogue as he went off, and even then it was touch and go whether we made it, but we just about managed to hang on.
Yeah, well, I did a successful one with Helen Shaw, Helen Prowse up at Cork. I was hanging on. And what happened, I was flying around. She wanted to hold me by my ankles, you know, face down and just do a swallow dive. And we didn't do it. I got fed up of hanging on. But what happened was I pulled a reserve handle out. I said, shit, Helen, I pulled your reserve handle out. But, you know, I was flying around and then we got to about 3,000 feet and I fell off. And someone came up to me after. There was loads of spectators there. They thought I'd fell out my canopy or something, you know. They're all shocked. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
That thing to do. I mean,